Easter unrest in Vilnius. How a dispute between Catholics and Protestants turned into a riot.
Even if you have little interest in history, you've probably heard about the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, when Catholics in Paris slaughtered at least 5,000 Protestants. Compared to that day, even the largest recorded religious conflicts in Vilnius look like child's play. Mass unrest in Lithuania was known as a tumult or turbation. The greatest such tumult broke out at the very end of the 16th century, on Easter Sunday. Catholics began to fight with Protestants. Stones and bricks flew through the air. Shots rang out. Everything started in Vilnius Cathedral. In the evening, after Samogitian Bishop Merkelis Giedraitis finished celebrating Mass, several evangelical Christians entered the church, which was then full of high-ranking religious leaders and academy students. What the evangelicals were hoping to find is unclear, but it was obvious what they did find: trouble. Later, the Protestants claimed they simply wanted to engage the Catholics in a discussion, but that the students had begun to beat them. Would you be inclined to enter a synagogue or mosque today to debate matters of religion? So, the evangelicals eventually had to hide in the home of the Rittmeister of the lower castle, Kasper Slishinsky, also a Protestant. The way the Catholics tell the story, the Protestants entered the church to boast and provoke a dispute. The Catholics admitted that one Protestant by the name of Nestor Geviont was beaten, but even so, he too made his way to the Rittmeister's house, where he and the other Protestants proceeded to drink. Hearing about the fight, Vilnius inhabitants began gathering around the nearby palace of the Grand Dukes. They expressed their anger about the Protestants and threatened to burn down the Rittmeister's house. But the castle guards were able to close the gates and save the Rittmeister and his guests. Meanwhile, people tried to force their way onto the castle grounds. Soldiers sent to maintain the peace began to open fire. Realizing they wouldn't be able to breach the gates, the Catholics decided to storm the Evangelical Reformed Church near St. Anne's and Bernardine churches on today's Volano Street. Many Protestants were injured, and those who escaped injury spent the night defending the church, afraid that the Catholics would set it on fire. News of the Easter riot reached the ruler of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Sigismund Vasa blamed the Protestants, perhaps not surprisingly, since he himself was a zealous Catholic. He demanded that the Vilnius Palatine, Krzysztof Radziwiłł-Pioran, punish the instigators of the violence. But Radziwiłł-Pioran was a reformed evangelical, and, after completing his investigation, he proclaimed that the people to blame for everything were the Catholics. But the Protestants did have to offer one of their own, the aforementioned Nestor Geviont. He was sentenced to death for organizing a riot, ridiculing important religious figures, and impeding religious rituals. We just don't know whether the sentence was actually carried out. It may be that influential Vilnius Protestants saved the man from the executioner's blade. All of this happened in the late 16th century, just on the eve of the 17th, when religious disputes would lead to plenty more tumults and turbation.